Okay, we have a big topic today. We have existential clauses. I've mentioned these before. And before, in the previous lesson, I only mentioned there is. But really, you want to be aware of existential clauses even with he is, or it is, or she was, with the verb to be. So we assert the existence of a noun with a there is construction. We're saying that something exists, yeah? And so even with nouns which usually take the, like the sun, there's only one sun, we would still say there is a sun at the centre of our solar system. And this is simply because we're asserting the existence of the sun. Okay, so that's the main thing to remember with existential clauses. They're asserting the existence of a noun, and I also mentioned informational lightness. Now I'm going to try and show how you can see these existential clauses very often in different forms of writing, all sorts of different forms of writing, certainly in newspapers and certainly in scientific articles and all sorts of places everywhere. Now remember, the main thing with existential clauses is that you can't use the. So a couple of other existential clauses first. Whatter and it's such a. These two really do assert the existence of the noun which follows. And you'll never say what, well, in some set phrases you might say what the, like what the devil, or something like that, but that's very rare. Normally you'd say what an amazing day, or what a wonderful time, or what a happy wedding, whatever. You can meet the person and say, oh yes, I have met him, what a lovely guy, and you would always put there, even though you've met him and you know who you're talking about. You're just asserting the existence of him, he or she, and so you would say, what a nice person. Okay, you'd use and the same with it's such. Yeah, I've been to that club, it's such a wonderful club. And again, this is you're just asserting the existence of this wonderful club. Now I've tried to explain this with two more examples here, which are not really like there is, but they still have the verb to be in them, although I'm going to show you that that's not strictly necessary, especially in these reduced relative clauses. Now if I say something like this, I admire Newton, and then I'll go on to assert a few facts about Newton. He was a man of profound vision. He was a wonderful scientist. He was an interesting physicist. Here I would be saying A, even if I used many sentences. And it's because these sentences are just asserting facts about Newton. They're pretty light on information, and so it would be A. However, if I define Newton, if I give a definition of he was the man who wrote the Principia, there's only one guy who wrote the Principia, and I must use the in this sentence. I really must. He was the man who wrote the Principia. So I don't want you to think that it's impossible to use to be and the. That's not what I'm saying. It's just very common that you'll see to be and a, because we're just asserting the existence in these existential clauses of a noun. Here, I don't think this is an existential clause. He was the man who wrote the Principia, I would call a definition, not a description. All the other sentences sound descriptive to me, and as soon as I hear the a, it sounds like just a description of Newton. As soon as I hear the, it sounds like a definition of Newton, of who this person was. Now, let's change the verb form here to is, and we'll just talk about a man who is renowned for writing the Principia. Now, after he is, we could use an existential clause. He is a man who is renowned for writing the Principia, even though there's only one. Still, after this, he is a man who is renowned for writing the Principia. This would be part of a description. This sounds informationally light. It certainly is possible, and the kind of time you would hear this is, well, very often when you're reading a book, say a bibliography about Newton, and it's at the beginning and it's explaining some of his achievements. And it perhaps says he was a man of profound vision. He is a man who is renowned for writing the Principia. And it would give a list of a man to fill up that description. Now, it is still possible to say he is the man who is renowned, and of course we don't need to say who is, because it could be a reduced relative clause and just he is the man renowned for writing the Principia. Now, here I think a teacher would say this to his class if he was explaining to them and they didn't know who Newton was or what he had done. I think very often a teacher would explain, oh, who is Newton? He is the man who is renowned for writing the Principia. So, I mean, they're very close, these two sentences, and both are possible, but this one sounds more like we're just giving general facts about Newton's life, and this one sounds like we're defining who exactly he is. Now, I know there's very little difference between these two, and so they are very close in meaning. But I just wanted to show you that when we change the verb form and we talk about the man or a man renowned for writing the Principia, both are possible. Okay, let's have a look at a different topic now. If I say something like this, I'm interested in Russia, and then I give a description of Russia. Russia is a large country. It really must be a, because I'm giving a description, just like this one must be a, would never be the, because it's too informationally light, and so I would just have to say Russia is a large country. Russia is a country located to the east of Germany, whatever. It would still have to be a. And also, if I gave very specific information, just like this was very specific information, there's only one person who is renowned for writing the Principia. There is only one country still overshadowed by its 1998 default. However, I would nearly always use a here. And again, it's because I'm stating a fact about Russia. I'm not trying to define what Russia is, what kind of country it is, and this wouldn't be perhaps a full definition of what it is. Anyway, you might think that this kind of is a full definition. It is perhaps what Newton is most famous for, but this is kind of like a by-the-by fact. There's not much, it's not what Russia is mainly about, the fact that it's still overshadowed by its 1998 default. And so here we would nearly always use a. It's just like an additional fact about Russia. It's asserting the existence of this country still overshadowed by its 1998 default. And so we would certainly use a here and not the. And I want to quickly add that in the article I took this sentence from, it wasn't actually Russia is. It was investors are pouring money into. It was from the Wall Street Journal, and it was investors are pouring money into a country still overshadowed by its 1998 default. And it really must be a. It sounds much better than the. And it's because we're giving a description here, not a definition. And it's an existential clause, really, in my opinion. As soon as you have that a used in the sense of asserting the existence of something, then, it's an existential clause. So, I hope that hasn't confused you more. Please keep watching if you are confused, because in the next class I'm going to just take articles from newspapers and from various, maybe some literature as well, and we'll look at the usage of articles. And I hope to show you that this is very useful. Existential clauses are very useful for knowing when to use a, anyway, when to use the indefinite article. Okay, thanks for watching. Please like the video if you've enjoyed what this is about, and I hope to see you all soon.